PZL-104 Wilga, Golden Oriole, is a Polish short takeoff and landing STOL, civil aviation utility aircraft designed and originally manufactured by PZL Warszawa-Okecie. The Wilga has been widely used in civil aviation, performing various duties, such as touring, observation, glider towing, parachute training. First flown on the 24th of April 1962 and entering service during the following year, the Wilga has evolved through many ever-improving versions during its continuous production from 1962 to 2006. But the history of Wilga began here in Warsaw in 1962 at State Aviation Works Warszawa-Okecie. The PZL State Aviation Works was founded in Warsaw in 1928 as a state-owned company. PZL was the largest Polish pre-war aircraft manufacturer. A talented designer Zygmunt Pulorski designed a series of high-wing, all-metal modern fighters, PZL P.1, P.6, P.7 and P.11. In the late 1930s the company also developed several prototypes of more modern fighters and bombers, and a passenger airliner, the PZL-104 Wilga. However, World War II prevented these aircraft from entering production. By the end of the World War II, all factories were either ruined or robbed of tooling. After the war it first produced licensed versions of Soviet types and aircraft developed by other Polish companies. From 1958 onwards it started to produce its own designs under the PZL brand, starting with the PZL-101 Gauron. The factory developed mainly light sports, trainer and utility aircraft. The best-known designs are the PZL-104 Wilga utility aircraft, which was produced in larger numbers than any other Polish-designed aircraft. The PZL-104 was designed for robust use in sports and civil aviation, with a strong emphasis on glider towing and parachute training. On the 24th of April 1962, the prototype of the initial Wilga Mark I variant made the type's first flight, powered by an existing Polish 220 horsepower horizontally opposed engine, WN6 Air Bay. The subsequent flight test program with the prototype exposed a number of design faults, the most serious of which was the airframe's excessive weight, and a rear view restriction that prevented the crew from easily seeing a towed glider. Accordingly, an airframe review was performed by the design team that resulted in the thorough redevelopment of the aircraft, led by Polish aeronautical engineers Bronislaw Zorakowski and Andrzej Friedrichowicz. While the major structural elements and sub-assemblies that had been deemed to have been successful, such as the structure of the wings, were retained from the initial design, the redeveloped aircraft featured a completely new fuselage that was both slimmer and considerably strengthened beyond its prior counterpart. This new airframe also offered an excellent rear-view aspect for the crew during glider towing operations, while the side doors were also re-engineered to open upwards for better aero observation or parachute jump sorties. On the 1st of August 1963, the revised aircraft, which was designated as the PZL-104 Wilga Mark II, conducted its first flight. While testing validated the qualities of the Wilga II's airframe and had proved the aircraft to be a successful design, the WN6 Air Bay engine that powered the model was not fully developed and thus, the aircraft did not enter serial production. To address the immaturity of the original WN6 Air Bay engine, the design team decided to adopt an in-production radial engine, the 260 horsepower Aviation OAI-14R. The Aviation OAI-14R is a 9-cylinder, air-cooled, radial piston engine designed in the Soviet Union to power aircraft. A compressed air is used to start the engine. Furnished with this engine, the aircraft became the PZL-104 Wilga Mark III variant, which first flew on the 31st of December 1965. The new engine was more powerful, but it spoilt the previously clean and aerodynamic fuselage lines, originally designed for a flat engine. Nonetheless, the new variant was successful. Due in combination to the power of the AI-14R engine and the STOL capability of the airframe, an extraordinary high rate of climb of 2,165 feet per minute under minimal load was possible. One of a few remaining flaws was that the engine was relatively uneconomical to operate. Finally, after minor modifications, adding a wider and more massive gearbase, the first copy of the improved version was flown in 1967, and the first series of Wilga 35 was released in the spring of 1968. The most numerous variant of Wilga 35 was the utility plane Wilga 35A, while most others were built in small numbers or remained as prototypes alone. The PZL-104 Wilga is a high-wing cantilever short takeoff and landing monoplane utility aircraft, featuring all aluminium construction and a conventional layout. The main cabin is constructed of duralumin, both riveted and corrugated, which reportedly increases the strength and durability of the aircraft's low-mass semi-monocoque fuselage. The rectangular single-spar wing is fitted with slotted flaps and anti-stall slats. The four-seat cabin is fitted with two large side doors, opening upwards to facilitate large loads, and rapid entry or exit. The main wheels of the landing gear are attached to an articulated, conventional fixed undercarriage, complete with pneumatic shock absorbers and paired with a heavy-duty sprung tail wheel, which was attached to a hook for towing gliders. During 1979, the Wilga 80 variant went into production, which was an improved model specifically certified to operate in the US market. During the late 1990s, California-based Wilga dealer TerraSan promoted their own self-developed special mission variant of the Wilga 80. This customized derivative, which was marketed as an alternative to helicopters in the law enforcement role, was furnished with a Wescam-built gimbal-mounted camera and infrared imaging system fixed to the exterior of the fuselage's center line. In 1996, it was announced that PZL had developed an improved version of the aircraft, known as the PZL-104A, Wilga 2000. The Wilga 2000 family benefited from various improvements. It adopted an American Lycoming 540 engine, capable of generating a maximum of 300 horsepower, along with an allied signal Bendix avionics suite and a new wing, the latter of which offered increased fuel capacity and endurance, as well with aerodynamic refinements, such as fairings around the undercarriage. In September 2001, Poland had finalized an agreement with the multinational aerospace conglomerate European Aeronautic Defence and Space Company to acquire 51% of PZL Warszawa-Okecie, but in November 2006, production of the Wilga came to end following a decision by EADS to reduce its presence within the civil aviation market. Throughout its production life, in excess of 1,000 Wilgas of all types had been constructed. The vast majority, reportedly around 935 of these, were built to the Wilga 35 and 80 standards. These numbers mean that the PZL-104 has been produced in greater quantity than any other Polish aircraft design in history.